Ch.2a, a politician, a former military man. Why? Is he a paranoid or am I a paranoid? These are the three books published almost simultaneously, sometimes in the middle of 70s. CIA and the Cult of Intelligence. CIA Diary by Philip Age and the KGB by John Barron. But I tried to buy the KGB, but it was not in the bookstores of Canada or United States. The previous two books on the left were. This is the author of the most anti-American book, The Defector to the Communist Side, Philip Age. He is alive. Nobody is threatening his life. Nobody is poisoning him with the poisoned umbrella. This is, you know who. He's criticizing CIA for developing a gun to kill communist agents. And he tries to present it as a crime on behalf of United States Intelligence Agency. Why is it a crime? To defend you from the communist agents and to develop a secret gun, which is silent, is a crime. Is there any logic? I don't see any. This is the fellow who also criticizes the United States CIA for developing technical means of bugging USSR embassies on the territory of United States. Why not? I don't see any reason why not. But Mondale obviously does. He knows better. These are the authors who published lists of American agents stationed all over the world. They are alive. They actually made quite a lot of money in that publication. And this is the victim. The chief of CIA in brief was killed when the book of the previous two Americans was published. This fellow is dead. The other two are not. Siberia in 1971 was visited by a group of politicians from Canada. And this is the report about that visit. This is the group. We're shaking hands with the Soviet ambassador. This is a Soviet technical miracle. A pipeline on thermofrost or something. In other words, what Canadians were doing in early 60s is presented to Canadian public as an achievement, a great technological achievement in USSR. This is the route of their travel in Siberia. The Canadians covered that much of distance. Please remember that map. I will come back to that question. This is a book published by a Canadian author, Farley Mowat. By the way, Never Cry Wolf, a movie which is made on the basis of Farley Mowat's book. He's a nice fellow, drinks a lot of vodka. He was a guest of Novosti Press Agency, which I was working for. This is another book written by Farley Mowat after returning from Siberia. He was accompanied by a person like myself, a Novosti Press Agency journalist. Glorification of Siberia. This is what this is the route. I promised you to come back to that map, which Farley Mowat, a Canadian progressive writer, covered when he was in USSR. This is what he makes Canadians to believe Siberia looks like. It does, of course. Baikal Lake is a very beautiful natural phenomenon. A nicely dressed Soviet Eskimos or Chukchas, I don't know, some ethnic minorities, friendly talking to each other in fluent English. Nice motel somewhere in the middle of Siberia. Huge hydroelectrical projects. It is true, it is built, but they never mentioned by whom. And this is what I eventually wanted to show you. These are the two routes. First one in red ink by Canadian government delegation. In blue ink by the author Farley Mowat, accompanied by Novosti Press Agency. The black dots are locations of Soviet concentration camps. These people were shown the places where the slave labor is being used by the Soviet government, if you call them government. I call them junta of mass murderers. But there is not a single mentioning, not a word, that those beautiful electric stations were built by slave labor. This is what Canadian reader will never see in the report by Canadian politicians or the progressive writer Farley Mowat. You say, well, that's Russia. This is not a kindergarten. This is a prison for children of prisoners. These are the houses. If an American contractor would build a house like that, I think he will end up in jail. But this is what is being shown to some naive foreigners as achievements of Soviet technology. Naturally, if you follow the editor's choice and advice, you will never understand that the description, the most detailed description of Soviet concentration camp system is put on the bottom of the list. You say, well, maybe in USSR the concentration camp is nothing surprising. Well, this is a concentration camp in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia. Same thing. Slave labor. This is what happens to slave laborers when they don't obey the orders. They are being executed, not by firing squad, because bullets are too expensive, by shovels, crushing skulls. This is the victory of communism for you. This is what happens to their children. And this is the originator of this slaughterhouse, Cambodian Premier Pol Pot, during interview with Time magazine. Very nice, plump, fatherly image. You are made to believe that Holocaust happened during the Second World War is something that may happen again. It may. But the originator of it may not necessarily be the Nazis. We don't have any Nazi submarines roaming around the shores of the United States and Canada. We have liberation forces. That's what Holocaust. This is happening right now, after the so-called National Liberation Movement. This is a still from a movie, Holocaust, a television production. The Nazis are shooting the prisoners, the Jews. We are made to, well, it's horrible, of course, there is no denial. It happened many years ago, and the tactic, which I will explain you later if you have patience with me, is sidetracking your opinion from present danger to the past. From this is present time, this is past time. This is happening right now in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Is there any movie about Holocaust which happens now? No. This is what happens in, well, that did happen in Rhodesia before it becomes Zimbabwe. It's a black girl, by the way, not a white one. This is the result of the socialist movement. These people were killed by those who are now in power in Zimbabwe. And we call them reverend bishops or whatever. This is the supply of Soviet arms to Rhodesia before it turned into Zimbabwe. And this is a very interesting picture. A poor South African is showing his internal passport, saying that there's no freedom and he has to live wherever he is assigned to live by the police. For some strange reason, not a single media outlet in the United States makes a comparison, because in Russia every citizen has a passport like that. And the Asian ethnics in USSR do not have the right to live in those areas which are designed for the whites, and the other way around. But we are getting emotional about this passport. Why not about Soviet passport? The answer is flowing in the wind, how they sing.